53-degree afternoon at Orchard Park. Rain and a lot of wind. Darryl, the Buffalo Bills have won the toss. Giants clinch a playoff berth with a victory. Bills will get the football first. And by virtue of Buffalo winning the toss, it will benefit the Bills in the second half as well.
I mean, the coin toss is very critical, not only in the first half to get the ball, but this isn't college. You can't defer. So, at the start of the second half, referee Gene Steratore will go to the Bills and say, which way do you want to kick off? That way you can gauge to have the wind at your back in the fourth quarter. So you get the ball to start the first half, and you can plan it to have the wind at your back in the fourth quarter.
Lawrence Times will get things started. Terrence McGee back deep for the Buffalo Bills. Kickoff sails out of bounds at the 1. So the Bills will start with terrific field position from their own 40-yard line.
Free kick out of bounds on the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. First down.
For the Bills offensively, the rookie out of Cal, Marshawn Lynch, with 940 yards on the ground, 60 away from a 1,000-yard season.
And a big concern for the Giants defense, just one takeaway in their last 4 games. So they're going to have to find some way to generate turnovers this afternoon and get this offense, which has really struggled since Thanksgiving, onto a short field.
The rookie from Stanford, third-round draft pick Trent Edwards, making his 8th start of the season. Bills have a record of 5-2 with Edwards as the starter. He fakes the handoff to Lynch, looking downfield. He throws, and the pass is caught in Giants territory for a first down by Lee Evans, who picks up 21 before he was tackled by Jabril Wilson.
You got to love that play call. We've been talking about weather and running the football. They come out, run nice play action on the boot, and here comes Lee Evans all the way across the field, unguarded. Look at how open he is coming across that middle of the Giants defense.
3 wide receivers set for the Bills. First and 10 from the Giants 39. Marshawn Lynch. Lynch up the gut, gains a couple before he's forced back by Fred Robbins.
That's exactly what the Giants defensive line was looking for in the first play and got caught with that play action. But they're coming off. They're looking for the run all the way. Linebackers, eyes in the backfield, and these wideouts also. They're doing a great job of blocking downfield right now.
2 tight ends. Evans split to the left. Josh Reed comes in motion. Again, it's Lynch. Marshawn Lynch takes it all the way down to the 30. He is close to a Bills first down. Aaron Ross made the tackle.
And you saw the numbers that Marshawn Lynch has put up this season. He's missed 3 games. He still only needed 60 for 1,000 coming in. And everybody you talk to that has played against Marshawn Lynch, they compare him very much to Marion Barber with the Dallas Cowboys. Very physical. He takes on people. When you come up to make a tackle, you better bring everything you got, because he is a very physical runner.
Lynch out, Fred Jackson in. 3 receivers set, first and 10 from the Giants 29. This is Jackson. And Jackson takes it down to the 27-yard line, gain of 2 before he was brought down by the Pro Bowler, O.C. Umenyiora.
And that's going to be a great matchup to watch this afternoon. O.C. Umenyiora against Jason Peters, 2 Pro Bowlers, left tackle for the Bills, right defensive end for the New York Giants. And now what this Giants defense does very well, in passing situations, they can get their front 4 into one-on-ones. I think the Bills are very confident with Jason Peters being out there on that island all by himself against O.C. Umenyiora.
Jackson remains in the backfield for the Bills. 2 tight ends on 2nd and 7. Edwards rolling right, penalty flag, another flag as Edwards is shoved out of bounds. 2 flags on the play.
Holding, offense, number 86, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
That's on the tight end, Michael Gaines.
Well, what happens is you get the zone blitz scheme. OCU Manura is going to drop into coverage. So we just talked about that one-on-one battle, and all of a sudden, there he goes. He's going out in coverage on Robert Royal. Now everything shifts to the other side. You've got your pressure coming from the right. Here comes Michael Johnson. He beats Fred Jackson inside. There's your hold inside on Reggie Torbor. Another one of these giant defenders, converted defensive end from college, stand-up linebacker, very good pass rusher. If you get him matched up against a tight end or a running back, it's favorable for the Giants.
Second down and 17 following the penalty. Edwards in trouble. Gets rid of it to Lynch. And Lynch is inside the 15. Down to the 10. Still on his feet. Finally tackled at the 6 by Kavika Mitchell.
Giants players thought he ran out of bounds. They just stopped. I mean, he did a great job of staying in bounds on that play.
You got Michael Johnson coming free. Trent Edwards does a good job of feeling that pressure coming from the backside. They had a screen set up out to the right. But if Trent Edwards would have just sat in the pocket, Michael Johnson's going to blow him up. He feels that pressure, buys himself a little bit of time until the lineman in the screen element get ready for the ball, and then dumps it off for a big gain.
Lynch picks up 30. First and goal from the Giants 6. Jackson. Fred Jackson out of Division III Cole College takes it down to the 3-yard line. Tackled by Barry Cofield. The Bills have the fewest red zone touchdowns in the league. They have scored only 10 touchdowns in 14 games, Darryl, inside the red zone.
And a lot of that is because they haven't been in the red zone very often. So this is a team that struggled to get into the red zone, and when they've been there, have not been very efficient. But again, we talked about it at the top. The New York Giants can't fall behind in these conditions. They're letting this Bills offense on their opening possession move right down the field.
3 tight ends. Edwards to the end zone. Touchdown, Michael Gaines.
You got Robert Royal, and Michael Gaines is going to come from the other side out of the backfield. You've got 2-on-1 out there. Michael Johnson has got 2 people. Robert Royal at the tight end spot is who Michael Johnson goes with, and then they slip out Michael Gaines from the backfield. He's wide open in the flat.
Lawrence Tynes has frustrated Giants fans all season with his erratic kickoffs. Sent the opening kickoff out of bounds. Bills started from their own 40, a short field. And they score on the opening possession, lead the Giants 7-0.
It used to be easy to name college football's greatest play. But now there's a new contender to the crown.
Throws it over the middle, complete to Thompson. Thompson looking for a block. He laterals it to Curry, and Curry laterals it again, and it's caught again. And Tomlin now on the lateral, and now the lateral to Thompson, and he laterals it back to Maddox on the other side. Maddox looking for a block. He fakes the lateral to Curry. Now he laterals it to Curry. Curry's at the 49-yard line. He's dancing around. He throws it back now to Maddox, who throws it across the field to Barmore. Barmore looking to run. He's looking for a block. He's got a convoy. He's going to throw it to Thompson. Thompson's at the 30-yard line. Thompson now laterals it back to Curry at the 35. They're running out of spaces. Curry fakes. He's going to lateral it to Tomlin. Tomlin's got a chance to go. Tomlin's got a chance to go. He laterals it. Now he's going to go to Maddox. Maddox at the 30-yard line, and now it's a lateral, and Curry's still going.
No way!
Curry's
No way!
It's a touchdown!
It's a touchdown!
Scores! The game is over!
See all the best college football action live on NASN.
Back at Orchard Park, Bills out to a 7-0 lead, a 7-play, 60-yard drive. Trent Edwards 3 for 3. Marshawn Lynch 40 yards, including 30 on the screen pass.
Very efficient, and again, you can't underestimate what an emotional day this is going to be for the Bills with Kevin Everett walking into the locker room, not just sending a message via video, but actually walking in, being reunited with his teammates. Football is an emotional game. I don't think people understand how much emotion plays a part in this game, and the Bills are going to be they're just going to be jacked up this entire game.
Bills went with a holder, Josh Stamer on the kickoff. It's brought back to the 30 by Ahmad Bradshaw. Ashton Bubodi made the
touchdown. I think it's OCU Mignora who has blown the coverage, because we're going to have a cross blitz here. Very difficult to ask your blitzers to come off. Watch OCU Mignora on the outside. It looks like he's soft playing it, but he's already beat. Now he's in that spot. Well, do I go to the quarterback? I'm already beat in coverage. I think they turned the guy loose on another zone blitz scheme.
Giants first possession. They start from their own 30. Brandon Jacobs in the backfield. The handoff to Jacobs, and Jacobs leads out to the 33-yard line. Gain of 3, brought down by Kyle Williams. Giants in the wind, the bad weather at the Meadowlands last Sunday against Washington. Darrell threw the ball 52 times.
I just felt they had to go to the passing game to get back into it after falling behind 22-3. They got to 22-10. Can't afford to have that happen again today. And Brandon Jacobs, a big downhill, powerful guy. It's going to be important for John DeGiorgio and all those linebackers and safeties to get him as close to the line of scrimmage as possible. Don't let him get rolling downhill.
2 tight ends for the Giants, Kevin Boss and Michael Matthews. Jeremy Shockey placed on injured reserve. He is out for the season. Jacobs running right, and it's DeGiorgio in on the tackle along with Angelo Crowell after a short game.
And one of the other areas we're going to have to watch, Goose, is that perimeter run game for the Giants. Jeremy Shockey, I think people, when they hear about Jeremy Shockey, they think about his ability as a pass receiver, but he's become one of the better blocking tight ends in the league also.
You got 2 big ones there with Michael Matthews and Kevin Boss. These 2 guys are big bodies. They've been coached up. They say they know how to block. We're going to see today.
Both rookies, Tony. 3rd down and 5. Giants have to get to the 40. In the wind, Eli Manning. First pass attempt today, intended for Plaxico Boris. The wind carried it. Brian Scott on the coverage.
This is going to be the 2nd week in a row the Giants are in difficult conditions, and you see the pressure on that throw by Chris Kelsay. If they can get people into Eli Manning's face, that's the MO normally when you're playing against Eli, because he has a tendency to drift backwards and throw off his back foot. If you can get pressure into his face, not allow him to follow through on these throws, this win that Tony's been talking about is going to be a bigger factor.
Yeah, you saw the ball float on that last replay. They got to go on them shorter passes, Moose. They go with them long ones. That win is definitely going to go and take it.
Jeff Feagles punting with the wind. Back deep, the leading punt return man in the NFL, Roscoe Parrish. Angled towards the sideline, taken at the 14 by Parrish, who averages over 17.5 yards per return. Here's Parrish across the 30, and finally down at the 35, a 21-yard return, 52-yard punt, and the tight end Kevin Boss made the tackle.
A very smart play right here by Dustin Fox. That's not a clip. You see, he's in position, gets his hands up. That's what sprung Roscoe Parrish to get that return started.
The hard-hitting action of American football continues on NASN, the home of the NFL. It's Week 16 and crunch time, with the playoffs getting closer and every game critical in the hunt to advance. The hard-hitting action continues with the 2nd game of our Sunday doubleheader, when the amazing New England Patriots are home to take on the Miami Dolphins. The NFL on NASN live next.
Druids Glen Golf Resort, voted European Golf Resort of the Year 2005. A golfer's paradise in the Garden of Ireland. 2 championship golf courses of contrasting design. The luxurious Marriott Druids Glen Hotel and Country Club, featuring 148 specially appointed guest rooms and a magnificent spa and health centre. Visit our driving range, pro shops, golf academy, and get your golfing tips or tuition from our resident PGA teaching professional.
Hey there, Horners. Tony Reale here, floating an invitation your way to go around the horn weekdays right here on NASN, Europe's leading channel for North American sports. Feast your eyes on my band, the merry journalists from the States, who contemplate, manipulate, debate the latest sports news from around the world. So, if you're a sports nutter, a novice, or just sleepless in Slough, you're sure to enjoy the banter. Don't miss Around the Horn right here on NASN. Horn!
Cheerio!
A little better conditions today than last week for Trent Edwards.
Yeah, a California kid is up there in Cleveland right on the lake, and boy, that was a nasty game last week. Even guys who've played in the Northeast said some of the worst conditions they've ever faced. So, unfortunately for Trent Edwards, a big game. He got his worst dose of weather.
Trent said it was like a bad dream last week in Cleveland. Lynch spins away from one tackler and then is wrapped up at the 37-yard line by Jabril Wilson, returning after missing the last 3 games for the Giants with a knee injury.
It's good to have Jabril Wilson back in the lineup along with James Butler. But, you know, Craig, the guys filling in for him, Michael Johnson, Craig Dahl, they did a nice job. And, you know, to have these 2 guys back, it helps out your corners also, because there's a lot of communication that goes on in the secondary. And with Sam Addison, when we spoke to him, he said, you know, I just try to make sure I know my stuff. That way I can take my name out of the equation, let those young guys coordinate everything. But now with Jabril and James back in there, I think they're going to feel a little bit better.
Edwards on 2nd and 7, swings it out to Lynch, and Marshawn Lynch has a first down. Finally forced out of bounds by Antonio Pierce at the 49, a 12-yard pickup as we check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Eagles and Saints, a 52-yard pass by Drew Brees to Devery Henderson set up Aaron Stecker to finish it off. Saints and Eagles all even at 7 apiece in the first quarter. Back to Kenny Moose and Goose.
All right, Kurt, even if the Giants lose today, they get in with losses by both the Saints and the Redskins.
I don't think they want to back in again. I think they want to earn their way, and they got off to a great start this year. Everything looked great for them second half of the season.
Edwards pass incomplete, intended for Reed. 2nd and 10 coming up.
Yeah, the Giants definitely need a little momentum going into the postseason, especially after last week's game.
Each of the last 2 seasons, it has come down to week 17 until the Giants clinched a playoff spot. Victory in Washington in their final game last year. Jackson in the backfield for the Bills, 2 tight ends. 2nd and 10. This is Jackson running left into Giants territory. Brought down at the 47 by Kavika Mitchell and O.C. Umenyiora.
This is going to be fun to watch all day long. Jason Peters against O.C. Umenyiora. I mean, Jason Peters, a converted tight end. Look at the size of that guy. Can you imagine him being a tight end? He is extremely athletic. I mean, he played the tight end position at that size. Now, he's beefed up a little bit, but he was over 300 pounds when he was playing tight end. So obviously, he's going to be very athletic. But the key thing, Goose, he's got a nice, nasty streak in him, too.
You always need those guys on the offensive line. You know that, Goose.
Edwards on 3rd and 5, firing downfield for Parrish, who makes a diving catch. A spectacular catch inside the Giants' 5-yard line by Roscoe Parrish.
This is looking eerily similar to last week's game against the Washington Redskins. Inclement conditions, but one team is able to make plays, one team is unable to make plays. Corey Webster just gets blown by Roscoe Parrish, and look at that catch. Guys out there forgetting about what the environment is, forgetting about the wind, and just making plays. The Giants didn't do it last week against Washington, and they're not doing it again at the start of this game.
Trent Edwards getting the ball off with that pressure. The Giants came with the pressure on that play, but they got to get there. They were about a second short.
A 42-yard pass play. Edwards looking, end zone, he throws, touchdown, Lee Evans.
What a move by Evans in the end zone.
I tell you what, unbelievable. Here's a move Tony was talking about. He sells Aaron Ross to the inside, breaks to the outside. We've had two guys wide open in the end zone for the Buffalo Bills. One in zone coverage on a bust, and another one just man-to-man beating on the route.
Ryan Lindell adds the extra point. 14-0 Buffalo. What a start for Dick Duran's Bills.
NASN Trivia Timeout. What NFL team won the first Super Bowl in 1967? Stay tuned. The answer is coming up.
I'll trade you a Red Sox home jersey and a Rangers t-shirt for that Pirates jacket.
No way. I want that Cardinals hoodie and that Braves away uniform and an item to be named later.
You drive a hard bargain.
Majestic Athletic, the official uniform supplier for all 30 Major League Baseball teams. Available now all over Europe at NASN.com.
Come in. Looks like the med school scouts are out early today.
There are over 380,000 NCAA student athletes, and just about all of them will be going pro in something other than sports. Download the guide for college-bound students at ncaastudent.org.
Or Wilson Baseball.
The Buffalo Bills have reached the end zone on their first two possessions. They lead the New York Giants 14-0.
And you know what? Let's throw the special teams group in there. Their offense hasn't been playing well, defense hasn't, but a kickoff out of bounds gives Buffalo possession on the 34. A 21-yard punt return by Roscoe Parrish gives them the ball at the 34. So the special teams has not been pulling their weight for the Giants either.
Mont Bradshaw out to the 30. Special teams, a big reason why the Bills are 7-7. They're ranked 30th in both offense and defense. Good job by the offense as well today. 2 early touchdown passes for Trent Edwards.
In this jersey, I pledge to wreak havoc on my opponent's plus-minus.
To make one-timers happen way more than once.
I pledge that my team will scrap for every single point on the schedule.
In this jersey, I pledge that holes are only holes if they're open.
Shop.nhl.com presents the RBK Edge jersey. All 30 teams reinvented for more strength, more speed, more belief.
In this jersey, I pledge to play for the logo on the front, not the name on the back.
What do you pledge? Visit shop.nhl.com for your jersey.
Bills lead the Giants 14-0. Eli Manning and the Giants offense back to work from their own 30. Giants went 3 and out on their first possession. 3 receivers set. Manning drops back into the shotgun. Eli on first down. The pass hits Jacobs in the back. Darryl, you talked about special teams. How about the holder on the last kickoff getting downfield to make the tackle?
Yeah, look who's holding the ball on this kickoff because of the conditions. Dustin Fox. Now, normally that's your safety. You bring the guy in from the outside. He's kind of your last guy to protect. And then the guy on the tackle, not only a tackle, but a nice physical tackle. So right now, the Giants, they have not even come close to matching the emotion that the Buffalo Bills have started this game with.
2nd and 10. Jacobs, nothing.
Moose, talking about emotions is an understatement. Watching this defense swarm to the ball, run, 11 guys around the ball every time. These guys are definitely fired up.
Yeah, the thing that really bummed them out last week against Cleveland, not so much the weather, but the footing on the field was terrible. I mean, muddy and wet before the snow came. This defense is undersized. They are built on speed and getting guys to the ball. The conditions in Cleveland last week negated that. It may be windy here today, but the footing is good, and you're seeing how quickly all these guys get to the ball. They're not going to let Brandon Jacobs get started.
3rd down and 10. Giants have to get to the 40. Manning steps up, throwing downfield, looking for Amani Toomer. And Toomer makes the catch in Bills territory. Gets back up and is finally tackled by Jim Leonard. A huge play for the Giants. 57 yards from Manning to Toomer.
Well, this is what didn't happen last week against the Redskins. Nobody made plays down the field. A lot of drop passes. Amani Toomer had a huge one on a potential big play for the Giants. Now, Amani Toomer popped back up and ran down the field, but you can see on that play, Jim Leonard made contact. So we've got a challenge out on the field by the Buffalo Bills that Amani Toomer was down by contact.
Dick Duran has a great percentage on challenges this season. He has challenged 9 plays. 7 of the 9 have been reversed.
David Deal got away with a little tug on Aaron Schobel as Eli Manning was running away. You know, sometimes it takes just one play like this to jumpstart your entire team.
The ruling of the field, and it was a completed catch, and the runner was not down by contact.
It looked like Toomer was contacted by Leonard down at the 30. He gained 17 more yards after he got up, so we assume this will be placed back on the 30. Giants will still have terrific field position.
The hard-hitting action of American football continues on NASN, the home of the NFL. It's Week 16 and crunch time with the playoffs getting closer and every game critical in the hunt to advance. Today, it's a live doubleheader. The playoff-bound New York Giants battle the Buffalo Bills. Then the Miami Dolphins take on one of the greatest teams in NFL history, the New England Patriots. Coverage begins with Sunday NFL Countdown, live today on NASN.
What do I control? I don't control the bumps and the bruises, the crowd, or who covers me. I don't control the bounces, the shootout order, or for that matter, what happens outside the rink. There are a lot of things in life I don't control. But then again, there are some things that I do.
NASN's coverage of the BCS begins New Year's Day with a live back-to-back doubleheader of the Rose and the Sugar Bowl. Number 6 ranked USC make their 3rd straight trip to Pasadena, where they will face the surprise BCS pick Illinois in the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. Then the Sugar Bowl takes center stage as 12-0 Hawaii face Georgia and their legions of Bulldog fans. A live BCS doubleheader New Year's Day only on NASN.
Dick Duran has challenged the spot. It looked to us like Amani Toomer was contacted here by Jim Leonard down at the 30.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of obvious right there that Jim Leonard makes contact, so that's going to come back to the 30, 31-yard line. So 17 yards of effective field position. But, you know, finally, we get a chunk of yards by the New York Giants. I mean, you got to go all the way back to the Philadelphia game when they had a big 41-yarder to Plaxico Burress.
After review, it is a completed catch, and the runner is down by contact at the 31-yard line. It will be the New York Giants ball 1st and 10 at the 31. Buffalo will not be charged with the timeout.
And if Dick Duran challenges again, and is successful, he will then get a third challenge.
Well, you pointed out he's very good with them. I don't imagine Dick Geron being an aggressive guy. He's going to have a good feel on that. Good job by his people upstairs to get the information down. One of those obvious calls that was just kind of missed a little bit because of the speed of the game on the field, but you can see the difference in the field position that made.
So it's a 39-yard completion for Manning to Toomer. Ball officially spotted on the 31. Two tight ends in the game for the Giants. Off the play fake. Manning to the end zone for Burris off his fingertips.
Well, right now, these wide receivers for the Giants are starting to run by the defensive backs for the Buffalo Bills. We saw Amani Toomer get behind Jim Leonard. That time, Plaxico Burris behind Terrence McGee. I think what they're doing, they're sitting on things. I mean, they're not expecting this Giants offense to stretch the field as much. They're kind of sitting on that 8 to 10 yard curl route.
Second and 10 from the Bills 31. Brandon Jacobs. Jacobs tackled after a gain of 2 by Brian Scott. Third and 8 coming up, but first, Kurt Menefee.
Guys, if the Giants lose out and the Saints win out, New Orleans makes the playoffs. Maybe they were too busy scoreboard watching to stop Correll Buckhalter. 20-yard score for the Eagles, and that game's all tied at 14 in the first. Back to Kenny, Moose, and Deuce.
Now those Philadelphia Eagles, tough team to figure out. We see them give away games to the Seahawks and the Giants. Then they come back and have a nice game against Dallas last week, and now in a tough one down there with New Orleans on the road. That's been their season. Haven't been able to figure out the Eagles all year.
Darryl, the Giants have 4 wide receivers on the field. Third down and 8. Manning steps to his right, lost the football. He falls on it. Back at the 37, the ball slipped out of Eli's hands.
We saw that happen a couple weeks ago in Chicago. That ball just popped out, a similar spot on the field. You're down in the area where there's points, and it just comes out. Heads up by Eli to get back on top of that, not turn over possession. But Kenny, you mentioned the fact that Giants with 4 receivers on the field with Jeremy Shockey on IR. Normally when they would get into that package, Jeremy Shockey would be one of those receivers. But this afternoon, without him, they've had to go to a pure 4 wide receiver set.
You know what, Moose, that's the element they're missing right now. That nasty offensive guy who goes and motivates a little bit. And the guy you want to put in the backfield. They definitely today missed Jeremy Shockey and his attitude.
Well, we've got offsides on the Buffalo Bills. Now, I don't know if that puts this ball in a position where Tom Coughlin will feel that Lawrence Tynes has an opportunity to make this field goal. That might have just cost the Buffalo Bills 3 points.
Well, before the penalty, it would have been a 54-yard field goal attempt.
Offside. Defense. Right defensive tackle. The penalty is declined. First down, Buffalo. Timeout.
Tom Coughlin declines the penalty because the punt landed out of bounds at the 4-yard line. So Coughlin, playing the field position game, will pin the Bills deep in their own territory instead of trying a long field goal.
There was a moment there where I thought, that was a pretty doggone good throw. I can probably play.
My sophomore year against Thomasville, I only got 3 balls. And those 3 went for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. I knew right then that I was on my way.
And the stadium was rocking, it was packed. Got a total of 400-some yards. That's when I knew.
When people stopped calling me Archie's boy, started calling me Peyton, that was a big moment for me.
There are 380,000 NCAA student athletes. And most of us will go pro.
Most of us will go pro in something other than sports.
in something other than sports. Go to ncaastudent.org to find out how.
Tying season long is 48, even in good weather. 4th and 11 from the 32. Would he contemplate perhaps going for it? Instead, declines the penalty, takes the punt. Bills football on their own 4.
Oh, he talked about special teams and getting